Tonight, millions are on alert for severe weather as a massive wildfire explodes in size in North Carolina. President Trump defends his aggressive deportation plan and what he said when asked if everyone is entitled due process. And authorities say they stopped an attack on Lady Gaga's concert hours before it was set to begin. First, that wildfire burning near a popular vacation resort, tripling in size overnight, fueled by strong winds and dry conditions as millions in the South face a new severe weather threat. Damaging winds, hail, and flash flooding all possible. Our weather team times it all out. President Trump refuses to say that migrants are entitled to due process under law despite the Fifth Amendment. The administration blames the courts for halting his efforts to deport migrants to that notorious prison in El Salvador and what he's now saying about a third term. Selina Wang reports from the White House. The rescue off the coast of Miami Beach. First responders from multiple agencies raced to rescue dozens after a luxury yacht capsizes, what authorities are now saying. Brazilian police say they thwarted a possible attack targeting more than 2 million people attending a Lady Gaga concert. Israel is vowing to retaliate after a Houthi missile fired from Yemen explodes near Tel Aviv's main airport. The investigation into how it penetrated their sophisticated Iron Dome defense system. The moment a small plane slams into a Southern California neighborhood, killing everyone on board. The new details coming in. Deadly gunfire erupts at a family barbecue in Houston. The latest on that investigation. The final countdown to choose the next pope. Speculation mounts as a short list emerges and how it may all play out. Plus, the growing reaction to the controversial social media post from President Trump. Our team has the latest from Vatican City. And America strong tonight. After an accident made her miss her prom, the medical staff that went to work to save the day.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this busy Sunday. I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight, President Trump's response when pressed on upholding the Constitution during the deportation of migrants. But we do begin with weather and dry conditions fueling a fast-moving wildfire near a popular vacation resort in North Carolina. The so-called Sunset Road fire in Boiling Spring Lakes has scorched at least 1,500 acres, tripling in size overnight, and is only 10% contained. A 10-year-old died this weekend after a powerful storm caused a tree to crash through the roof of her home in Atlanta. Millions in the South face a new round of severe weather to start off the work week. Let's get right to meteorologist Danny Beckstrom from our New York station WABC. Danny, is there any relief on the way for firefighters?
There is, Lindsay, because the same system that brought the severe thunderstorms across the East Coast to start the weekend, now transitioning to a rainmaker, as you can see behind me in New York City, and that will benefit the drought areas that have been fueling these wildfires. This system is slow to clear out with off and on rain and scattered thunderstorms across the Northeast tonight into the start of the work week. Then our attention turns to a new threat unfolding in parts of the plains and south. Severe storms with damaging wind and hail are possible across a large portion of Texas on Monday and Tuesday. However, our greater concern is the widespread flash flood risk on Tuesday from Texas to Alabama. The areas in red there are where numerous flash floods are expected, and impacts could be significant. And recent rain in the same area means the ground is already saturated, and any additional rainfall can be that much more dangerous. Lindsay?
All right, understood. Danny, thank you. Now to tonight's other major news. President Trump is facing tough questions over upholding the U.S. Constitution. The president is defending his immigration crackdown, but deferred to his attorneys when asked about due process during deportations. Here's ABC's senior White House correspondent Selina Wang.
Tonight, President Trump defending his aggressive immigration plan, arguing his campaign promise to deport undocumented migrants may supersede giving those targeted their constitutional rights to due process. Asked whether he as president needed to uphold the Constitution, Trump said he wasn't sure, deferring to his lawyers.
I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It seems it might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth, some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Trump's immigration crackdown facing escalating legal challenges. The Fifth Amendment guarantees that the federal government cannot deprive a person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Trump's use of a centuries-old wartime law to deport undocumented migrants with little or no due process under scrutiny after the administration deported at least one migrant by mistake. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a construction worker living in Maryland who fled El Salvador when he was 16, sent to the country's notorious Setcop prison due to an administrative error. The Supreme Court making it clear the Trump administration must give deportees their right to due process and ordering them to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return. Trump previously told ABC News he has the power to do so, but now says it's actually up to the government of El Salvador.
The decision as to whether or not he should come back will be the head of El Salvador. He's a very capable man.
And Lindsay, President Trump has often floated the idea of running for a third term, even though it's prohibited under the Constitution. But in this latest interview, President Trump throwing cold water on that idea, mentioning his Vice President J.D. Vance and his Secretary of State Marco Rubio as possible successors. Lindsay?
Selina Wang from the White House tonight. Thank you. Next, a major rescue after a Lamborghini yacht began to sink off the coast of Miami Beach. A fun day in the sun during Formula One weekend quickly turned chaotic after the nearly $5 million vessel started to take on water. What we're learning tonight. Here's ABC's Alex Presha.
Could you imagine? Dude, no way.
Florida officials are investigating how this multi-million-dollar luxury yacht ended up sinking off the Miami coast. And tonight, new video circulating of the daring rescue after dozens were stranded aboard the 63-foot-long Lamborghini boat when it started taking on water.
Any municipalities with boats in the water that can take our 15 with Miami Beach at 22 Star Island Drive. Individuals on a Lamborghini vessel that's taking water.
A passenger tells ABC News it started out as a Saturday full of fun in the water, as Miami is flooded with onlookers for this weekend's big Formula One race. Henry Eisenstein was on a boat nearby witnessing the chaos.
I've never seen anything like this. Thank God everyone was okay.
All 32 people on board rescued and no injuries reported.
Lindsay, tonight, crews are working to recover that vessel, and there are questions about how it began taking on water and also the number of people on board. Lindsay?
Tragedy averted there, Alex. Thank you. Overseas now to an alleged bomb plot at a Lady Gaga concert in Brazil. More than 2 million people gathered for the free show at Copacabana Beach. Let's bring in ABC's Morgan Norwood. Morgan, what more are you learning tonight about the suspects and that foiled plot?
Lindsay, as you just pointed out, more than 2 million people gathering at Copacabana Beach for Lady Gaga's show, and police thwarting that alleged bomb plot just in time. Brazilian authorities say a man and a teen are in custody tonight, a part of what federal police dubbed Operation Fake Monster. This highly produced video showing the moment that police say those 2 men were taken into custody just hours before that record-breaking show went on. Officials claiming the 2 were part of an online hate group encouraging violence and attempting to recruit other teens, both allegedly planning to use Molotov cocktails at that show. That concert did go on without incident, but tonight Lady Gaga thanking fans and her team saying they were unaware of the incident until after the show. Lindsay?
Morgan, thank you. Now to a Houthi missile strike from Yemen targeting a busy airport in Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now vowing to retaliate against the Houthis and their, quote, Iranian terror masters. Israel is also trying to determine why attempts to intercept the missile failed. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore with the new details coming in tonight.
This is the moment a missile fired from Yemen penetrated Israel's highly sophisticated Iron Dome air defense system, striking the area near Tel Aviv's main airport. Yo! In videos circulating online, debris and thick smoke is seen rising into the air. While inside the terminal, passengers taking cover. Yo! Israel now saying a technical issue caused multiple attempts to intercept the missile to fail. 8 people were injured, and tonight, the Houthis claiming responsibility, saying they used a hypersonic missile that traveled some 1,200 miles.
We will not tolerate it. We will take very strong action against them.
United Airlines, Delta, and other carriers canceling flights to and from Israel, leaving passengers scrambling.
I'm supposed to go back to Paris today, and Air France canceled their flight, and I'm afraid it's going to be very difficult today to go back to France.
The strike came hours after Israel called up thousands of reservists for a renewed offensive in Gaza, where the death toll in the last 24 hours has reached 52,535 people after the Gaza Health Ministry says 40 people were killed and 125 injured.
Lindsay, in response to Israel's planned expansion of operations in Gaza, Yemen's armed forces has said that it will impose an air blockade over Israel, targeting its airports and urging international airlines to cancel their flights to Israel to protect their aircraft and their passengers. Lindsay.
Lots of fallout there, Marcus. Thank you. Back here in the U.S., we're learning new details tonight about that small plane crash into a neighborhood outside Los Angeles. The pilot of the home-built kit airplane, one passenger and a dog all died. 2 homes were also damaged, but no one on the ground was injured. More now from ABC's Melissa Adon.
Tonight, the FAA and NTSB investigating after a single-engine aircraft crashed into the Southern California neighborhood, killing the pilot, a passenger, and dog on board. The fiery impact caught on camera. A plume of smoke rising in Simi Valley, outside of Los Angeles. The FAA says the van's RV-10, a home-built kit airplane, was flying from Lancaster to Camarillo when it went down just before 2 p.m. Saturday. Armand Hovakamian says he was home with his wife Armine when he suddenly saw a plane falling from the sky and crashing into his backyard.
We think it was a miracle that we both actually were able to leave the house unharmed.
Their home, one of 2 damaged. No one on the ground was hurt. The NTSB now on scene.
We will be looking at details in totality to make sure that we understand what occurred and make sure that we do what is necessary to prevent it from occurring in the future.
Lindsay, the victims have yet to be identified. This as investigators still have this area closed off as they continue to comb through the wreckage. Lindsay.
Melissa, thank you. Now to that deadly shooting at a family barbecue in Houston. Police say the gunfire erupted after an uninvited guest was asked to leave. One person was killed and more than a dozen others injured during a shootout. ABC's Perry Russum has those details.
Tonight, shocking video from inside a deadly shooting at a house party in Houston. The calls for help coming in just before 1 in the morning.
We still have multiple patients that haven't received treatment and still patients that are still calling they've been shot. So they're all over the place.
Police say witnesses tell them it started when an uninvited guest was asked to leave a family barbecue.
He left. As he was leaving, he began shooting in the area. There was return fire from the residents as well.
More than a dozen people injured, multiple people in critical condition. One person is dead. You can see the overturned tables, plates of food left behind. Witnesses describing the chaotic scene.
All I heard was bullets passing. Everybody just started running. Everybody tried to get covered.
Victims triaged in a nearby fast food parking lot. Investigators canvassing a massive crime scene.
You can still see quite a few police vehicles lining the street. When I zoom out, you can see how widespread it is.
And Lindsay, police say they detained multiple people that may or may not be the suspect. No arrests have been announced. Lindsay?
Perry, thank you. Here in New York, jury selection is expected to begin tomorrow in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Let's bring in ABC's Rena Roy. And Rena, it sounds like some potential jurors are already being vetted.
Yeah, that's right, Lindsay. Sean Diddy Combs could face life in prison if convicted, and it'll be up to 12 New Yorkers to decide his fate. Jury selection is set to begin tomorrow, and we know that potential jurors have already started answering questions to test what they know about the case and whether they can be fair in weighing the evidence against him. Combs is facing a total of 5 federal counts involving sex trafficking and racketeering. Federal prosecutors allege he abused, threatened, and coerced women into drug-fueled orgies he called freak-offs and then intimidated them into silence. Singer and ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and 3 unidentified accusers are expected to take the stand as witnesses. And just days ago, Combs rejected a plea deal, and he has pleaded not guilty to all charges and has maintained that all of those sexual encounters were consensual. Lindsay?
Rena, thank you. Overseas now, and the final countdown to the conclave. Earlier today, Cardinals participated in the 9th and final day of their morning masses for Pope Francis. The conclave starts on Wednesday. This is the largest number of Cardinals, 133, who have ever taken part in the centuries-old tradition. ABC's Inez de la Quatara is in Vatican City tonight.
As the Catholic Church gears up to elect a new pope, tonight the faithful marking the final day of mourning for Pope Francis. Now, the eyes of the world fixated on these holy men, those cardinals filing into Mass on the last day of mourning for Pope Francis.
Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa.
In less than 36 hours, the cardinals will cut themselves off from the rest of the world, voting up to 4 times a day until they reach a 2/3 consensus. Black smoke will mean no pope has yet been chosen. White smoke will mean the church's 1.4 billion Catholics have a new leader. Topping the lists of possible next popes, Italian Cardinal Zuppi and Pizzaballa, who were both close to Francis, as well as Filipino Cardinal Tagle and American Cardinal Prevost. Another name that's been mentioned, Swedish Cardinal Arborelius, who will be voting in the upcoming conclave.
As a main line, I would say people want a very pious, outgoing pope who can bring the gospel, Jesus, to the world.
He expects the conclave might be on the longer side to give the cardinals more time to get to know each other.
I wouldn't be surprised if it would be an African or Asian cardinal, because somehow that's where the church is more alive, more dynamic.
The cardinals seemingly surprised by the media frenzy, some getting the celebrity treatment, constantly trailed by a pack of journalists. The movie Conclave adding to all the buzz, with even some of the cardinals discussing it, telling us they're hoping the real conclave involves a bit less drama. President Trump sparking criticism after posting this fake AI-generated image of himself on social media as Pope. New York Cardinal Dolan calling it embarrassing.
I hope he didn't have anything to do with that.
Are you offended by that?
Well, it wasn't good. Gli italiani dicono una brutta figura.
Lindsay, up until the very end, Pope Francis was calling for peace in Gaza, and that legacy continues. We're now learning he's arranged for his Pope Mobile to be transformed into a health clinic for the children of Gaza. Lindsay?
Inez, thank you. There's so much more ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday. We're just learning of the death of an actor from 2 well-known hit TV series, and the come from behind winner of the Kentucky Derby, and if he'll run again. Next tonight, tributes are pouring in for character actor Charlie Scalise, who had memorable roles in 2 iconic HBO series, The Wire and The Sopranos. Scalise played Tony Soprano's high school football coach in the dream sequence in season 2 and Horseface in The Wire. Scalise was 84. When we come back, the latest on the future of the winner of this year's Kentucky Derby. To the index now, it was a thrilling but muddy finish in the first leg of horse racing's Triple Crown. Sovereignty, with jockey Junior Alvarado aboard, beat the favorite Journalism in the stretch at the 151st Kentucky Derby. Sovereignty's trainer, though, says he's not sure if the colt will run in the Preakness on May 17th. When we come back, the medical team, accustomed to saving lives, saves the prom for one special team. Finally, the medical team saves the day.
Ella Walker loves to play soccer. The 18-year-old was looking forward to all the excitement that spring of senior year brings, especially going to prom, when she had an accident on a trampoline. She immediately underwent back surgery to repair her injured spine with rods and screws. The surgery was a success. Recovery requires wearing a back brace 24/7. Her dreams of senior prom were dashed.
Everyone wants to look the most beautiful that they can. With this brace, it's hard for me to feel beautiful.
But her care team at Memorial Hermann Hospital understood the assignment.
You ready to go to prom?
And brought the prom to her. Decorating a space in the hospital in the same Roaring '20s theme as the actual school prom. An ICU nurse helped her with her hair, and doctors gave her permission to briefly take off the back brace, don her prom dress, and take photos with friends.
This is just literally the most amazing thing that anyone has ever done for me in my entire life.
Fitting, then, that when Ella starts college in the fall, she plans to pursue nursing.
This entire experience has made me realize, that I chose the right path for myself. Every day I go out, I just want to make someone's life a little bit brighter, make someone's life a little bit more joyous.
Thanks for watching. I'm Lindsay Davis. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.